Well, our top focus on News Night as demonstrations continue to rock Bangladesh with Omar Hadi's brother issuing an ultimatum to the Yunus-led interim government in Dhaka. Amidst all of this, all these demonstrations, all the mayhem, today, earlier in the evening, a bomb blast occurred beneath the flyover in front of the Mog Bazar Freedom Fighters Memorial, which is a crowded area of central Dhaka. And these are the visuals of the bomb blast there in central Dhaka on your screens right now. As you can see, this spot, the Mog Bazar in central Dhaka, is an area frequented by many. Witnesses there say that the explosive device was thrown from above the flyover and exploded on the ground below. The blast injured a man named Siam, who later succumbed to his injuries and died. The police officials have cordoned off the area soon after the incident as panic spread locally. According to officials, the attackers fled immediately after throwing the device. Well, the motive of the blast has not yet been confirmed. However, as we speak, investigation is underway to ascertain the motive of the blast. Now, remember viewers, this blast in central Dhaka comes not just during all the political unrest in Dhaka, but one day prior, one day ahead of former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Khaleda Zia's son, Tarique Rahman's return to Dhaka after being in self-exile for 17 long years. Well, for more on this, my colleague Aditya is now joining me live. Aditya, you've closely been tracking all that's happening in Bangladesh. Talk about this blast that occurred in central Dhaka, which we have to talk about the timing of the blast, which comes one day before Tarique Rahman's homecoming.
Well, that's right. The timing is under question, but certainly the law and order situation is deteriorating in Dhaka every passing day. 10 days ago, we had the killing of Osman Hadi by masked men, unknown gunmen. Then we had the lynching of a Hindu man in Bangladesh, a barbaric crime that has taken place in Bangladesh before as well. And now, in fact, we are seeing a bomb blast taking place, that too in the capital city of Bangladesh, in which one person has been killed. There has been an attempt by the Yunus government and a lot of its supporters and several groups to give the Islamist radicals a main stage. And that means the Islamist radicals, including the Jamaat-e-Islami, are getting in control, are getting in power. In fact, the Jamaat-e-Islami is planning a huge rally in Dhaka in the first 3 days of 2026. And that's a concerning matter. The blast also takes place a day before Tarique Rahman comes from 17 years of exile back to Dhaka. And that will have repercussions on the politics that will shape in Dhaka as well, because the elections are going to take place in the next 2 months. Whether these will be free and fair elections is anybody's guess, because the Awami League has been banned completely. And there have been attempts made in the last more than a year, ever since Sheikh Hasina was ousted violently, to completely erase 1971 liberation memory, to attack Dhanmondi 32, and delete from the memory of the common Bangladeshi population Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And now there have been attempts to create a narrative against India also that have fizzled out, that have failed completely. And now the family of Osman Hadi has also blamed Yunus government for the killing of Osman Hadi. And the question is on the misgovernance, law and order, crisis in Bangladesh. And one person to blame for this is Muhammad Yunus.
Right, Aditya, you've clearly outlined all that is happening in Bangladesh right now. Your assessment of when will this come to an end, if at all, because all this is happening less than 2 months before Dhaka goes to polls.
Well, yes, Rahisha, at this particular time, it doesn't seem like that the situation will come under control anytime soon, because the Yunus government does not seem to have a plan. In fact, Muhammad Yunus seems to be completely in a crisis mode because he has given a long rope to the Islamist radical elements in Bangladesh. He doesn't seem to have the situation under control. There's another, theory also that Muhammad Yunus and several other groups do not want the elections to take place, because then the importance of Muhammad Yunus, the power control of Muhammad Yunus will go away. Perhaps the BNP will come in control. Perhaps there will be some other coalition government that might come in. Although the question is also the fairness of the elections, as I said, because Awami League is completely banned. So they are the biggest players in Bangladesh for the last 2 decades. and they certainly do not have a say at this point in time. So Muhammad Yunus does not have a plan to control the crisis, to do damage control, because the killers of Osman Hadi are on the loose. There's no investigation or probe that has found out where the killers really are. And now this blast taking place outside the 1971 memorial, clearly indicating that things are not right. In the days ahead, the protests, the violence could likely escalate if the Yunus government does not control the things.
Right, absolutely. Aditya, stay with us because we have breaking news coming in at this point of time, and we'll want your thoughts on this as well. And this is regarding all that's happening in Bangladesh right now. In the latest, Jamaat-e-Islami will hold a mass rally in Dhaka on January 3rd, 2026, demanding the arrest and trial of those responsible for the killing of Inquilab Moncho spokesperson Osman bin Hadi, the recovery of illegal arms and the arrest of terrorists. Well, that's the breaking news coming in, that Jamaat-e-Islami will hold a mass rally in Dhaka, and my colleague Aditya is still here with us. Aditya, what do you make of this ultimatum given by Jamaat-e-Islami? This also at a time when Inquilab Moncho themselves have said that after December 25th, that's after tomorrow, they will perhaps take out a pan-Bangladesh protest at this point of time. Do you think that things are now almost out of Yunus's hands?
Well, absolutely, Rahisha. What is happening in Bangladesh right now is that Jamaat-e-Islami is trying its best to show off strength. So this is a kind of an event for a show of strength ahead of the elections in Bangladesh by the Jamaat-e-Islami. And there seems to be some kind of a tacit understanding between Jamaat-e-Islami and Muhammad Yunus, because he's allowing them to grow, he's allowing them to flourish, and he's allowing them to fan sentiments and communalize the Bangladeshi society. You know, Bangladeshi society was known for its secular credentials, for its art, for liberal arts, etc. But now, not just the minorities, but political figures like the Awami League leaders and activists, even media, Pratham Olo and Daily Star came under attack. Even, cultural centers have been attacked in the past, and now during the recent violence as well. So the Jamaat-e-Islami is trying its best to be a kingmaker in the elections. Whether that will happen or not, only time will tell. But at this time, it does seem that Muhammad Yunus, who tries to portray himself as some kind of a liberal or somebody who works for the grassroots people, is indeed in some kind of a tacit understanding with the Jamaat-e-Islami, trying to showcase and give a long rope to the radical elements in the society, which will only deteriorate the situation further in Bangladesh into chaos.
Right, Aditya. Thanks for sharing your insights with us. We'll, of course, be tracking all that's happening in Dhaka very closely with you. Well, staying on with this story now, the Yunus government faces heat over a radical leader, Osman Hadi's murder. In the latest, Osman Hadi's brother has now targeted Yunus-led interim government in Bangladesh, blaming the government responsible for the murder. Well, speaking at a public meeting this morning, he said that the Yunus government cannot escape responsibility and that the political murder was a result of Yunus government's bid to derail the elections, which are scheduled to take place in less than 2 months. That's in the month of February next year. Remember, there has been massive backlash over Osman Hadi's death, who was a prominent leader of Bangladesh's 2024 student-led uprising. He was shot in the head on December 12th and later succumbed to his injuries in Singapore 6 days later. Before we tell you about all that's happening in Dhaka right now, take a listen to what Osman Hadi's brother said.
আপনারা যারা রাষ্ট্র ক্ষমতায় থাকাকালীন অবস্থায় ওসমান হাদিকে হত্যা করা হয়েছে, এই হত্যার দায় আপনারা এড়াতে পারবেন না। যে এজেন্সির হয়ে, যে রাষ্ট্রের হয়ে আপনারা ওসমান হাদিকে হত্যা করেছেন, মনে রাখবেন ওসমান হাদি কোনো এজেন্সি, কোনো রাষ্ট্র, কোনো তাবেদারের কাছে কখনোই মাথা নত করে নাই।
All right, let's now give you a lowdown of all that's happening in Dhaka as the turmoil seems to not coming to an end anytime soon. That's what you heard there. That was Osman Hadi's brother, who has clearly blamed Yunus for murder. He has blamed Yunus-led interim government for his brother's murder. He clearly said that Yunus, with the murder of his brother, is now trying to foil elections which will take place in February in Bangladesh. Now, Inquilab Moncho, the leader was Osman Hadi, who was murdered. They have now issued a 24-hour deadline for nationwide demonstrations in Bangladesh. Apart from that, India has also summoned Bangladesh envoy for the second time in the last few days. And the Yunus government has, while the prime suspect of Hadi's murder is still at large, the Yunus government has said that they will take responsibility of Deepu Chandra Das's family. Now remember, Deepu Chandra Das is the Hindu man who was lynched in Bangladesh. While all this is happening, Washington has written to Yunus over the Awami League ban. Perhaps this comes as Bangladesh will head to polls in less than 2 months. Apart from this, there are also anti-Yunus demonstrations and protests in various cities of India, not just in New Delhi, but Kolkata and even in Jammu. Preparations are also underway to welcome Khalida Zia's son, who is all set to return to Dhaka after 17 long years, and he will return tomorrow. Well, staying on with Bangladesh, as Dhaka descends into an abyss of violence with radical Islamic groups running amok, one of the major political events ahead of the elections for February is the return of one of the most important figures in current Bangladesh politics. We are talking about Tarique Rahman. He is the son of, he's Tarique Rahman, son of former Prime Minister Khalida Zia and political heir of BNP, and also the acting chairperson of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. He will return to Dhaka tomorrow on December 25th after 17 long years of being in self-exile. The BNP has also obtained permission to organize a reception marking the return of Tarique Rahman. His return comes at a time when his country is at a crossroads, when there is political unrest, protest and mayhem. And perhaps Rahman's return could be in a position to give his party BNP a direction. Our next report telling you more.
A nation on edge. Streets unsettled by violence. Institutions under strain, and now a political return that could change everything. After nearly 17 years in exile, Tarique Rahman, the political heir of Khalida Zia and the face of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, is returning to Dhaka. The BNP has secured official permission for a massive reception, signaling confidence, momentum, and a campaign already in motion. Rahman's return comes at a time when Bangladesh is seen to be at a crossroads. Radical Islamic groups are increasingly visible on the streets, while the interim government led by Muhammad Yunus faces criticism over legitimacy, governance and foreign policy decisions taken without an electoral mandate. Tarique Rahman has made one thing clear: foreign policy will change if the BNP returns to power. At a rally in Dhaka earlier this year, Rahman unveiled his Bangladesh First doctrine. The slogan marks a sharp departure from the current interim government's outreach to Pakistan and a clear contrast to ousted PM Sheikh Hasina's India-centric diplomacy. With the Awami League banned from contesting, the political battlefield is now centered around the BNP, while Islamist outfit Jamaat-e-Islami waits on the sidelines. Once allies of the BNP, Jamaat has refused to join any traditional electoral front this time. Against this volatile backdrop, Tarique Rahman is positioning himself as the face of democracy's return. Once jailed for 18 months and forced into exile in 2008, Tarique Rahman's return now places him at the very center of Bangladesh's future, tasked with uniting a deeply polarized nation, countering radical forces and restoring an elected government. Bureau Report for NDTV.
All right, that was about what's all happening in Bangladesh. Let's not tell you what's happening in India. There have been pan-India protests against Bangladesh. That's against the Yunus-led interim government in Dhaka. Those are the visuals of the Pan-India protests on your screens. Just today, there were demonstrations which took place in Lucknow and also in Maharashtra. Now, these demonstrations are against persecution of Hindu minorities in Bangladesh, which of course India erupted in anger after a Hindu man, Deepu Chandra Das, was lynched in Dhaka. Now, from UP to Bengal, there have been demonstrations taking place, and those are the visuals of how these demonstrators, in some places, they've also burnt the Bangladesh flag. They have been raising slogans against the Yunus-led interim government in Dhaka. Meanwhile, in Lucknow, Yunus's effigy was burnt by demonstrators. And remember, in most areas, these demonstrations are not as wild as what was peddled by Bangladesh, because Dhaka has been perhaps peddling an anti-India narrative. There have been security officials in most of the areas where these protests took place. But right now, the visuals on your screens right now are of the effigy of the Bangladesh national flag being burnt in Lucknow and in Maharashtra.